I'm Scott Thuman.
And I'm Natasha Barrett in for Sinead right now. So what can we expect from that storm system? Our Storm Watch coverage begins with meteorologist Jackie Jarris. Hey, Jackie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yes, we are on Storm Watch, and winter weather advisories have been already posted along the Blue Ridge and areas off to the west, including you in Rappahannock and Madison counties, as well as Hardy, Hampshire, Mineral, Rockingham, and Page counties as well. And that's where we're expecting the wintry mix to be at onset this morning, and some accumulations could be reaching around a half of an inch to an inch. Now for the DC Metro, most of this is going to be holding off, I think, until maybe the noon hour, and I do expect some sleet and snow here, but little accumulation, and our temperatures should stay above the freezing mark. Right now we're at freezing in DC with 29 at Dulles, 25 in Hagerstown, 27 degrees in Winchester. So our express forecast for today: cloudy skies and 33 at 9 o'clock, 35 with the light mix by noon, and cloudy skies with a chance of some rain at 5 o'clock with our temperature around 36 degrees. More details on what we can expect, and it's going to be a wet start to the weekend. Your weekend forecast in just a few minutes. From the Belfort Furniture Weather Center, let's see how the roads are with Jamie.
All right, it's nice and quiet actually. It's the sound of the weekend. Oh, such music to our ears. And as we hit the roads running, let's go 395. Checking here because they did have some overnight construction in the northbound direction now. They've switched the lanes, they've switched the sides. Northbound between Duke Street, Seminary Road, but I don't see any of the cones left, nothing remaining there, so you are good to go. Same story with 95 Virginia out of Stafford and up through to the Beltway, quiet. Now it's always good from the traffic center when I'm just checking the construction. Put you on the map on Maryland's 95. They still had some cones left on 95 South right near the Beltway, and northbound on 295, the BW Parkway near Route 100, but really that's about it here at this early hour. Natasha, good morning, and Scott, back to you.
All right, thank you so much. Well, crews in the Midwest are going to spend another day clearing the airports and roads from under all of that snowfall.
And some parts of Kansas saw more than 1.5 feet of snow. ABC's Tamon Bradley has more.
This morning, much of the nation's heartland is buried in snow. Overnight, the massive blizzard marched toward Chicago. The Great Lakes and northern Midwest are bracing for almost a foot of snow. The monster storm has already socked the heartland. Parts of Kansas and Missouri were struck by thunder snow. So instead of pouring rain, it was pouring snow. The conditions make driving treacherous.
It's a mess out here. I mean, it's really a mess out here.
From Kansas to Missouri, highways were shut down.
Just got out of control, lost control due to the weather condition. And
Scary?
It's scary, yes it is.
Across the Midwest, crews are working to clear abandoned vehicles after many got stuck in the snow. Even mighty postal trucks had a hard time.
The last one that was coming here got stuck 6 times before it finally got here. We've gone to extraordinary measures.
The heavy snow made visibility difficult at a number of airports, including this one in Omaha, Nebraska, where workers raced to clear runways. At yesterday's peak, snow fell up to 3 inches per hour in some places. Look at this time lapse. Watch how quickly snow in Arkansas adds up. Some in the Midwest welcomed the damp conditions. Drought-plagued farmers called the snow a blessing.
This will get our spring crops growing, our oats and our alfalfa and our spring pastures.
The storm is expected to weaken today, but forecasters say it will redevelop off the East Coast, bringing heavy rain and more snow this weekend. Tamon Bradley, ABC News.
And later today, officials with the National Weather Service will head to East Texas to survey damage from a deadly storm. At this point, it is unclear if a tornado hit Thursday afternoon. It was a 74-year-old woman who was killed when a tree fell onto her mobile home. The storm damaged more than 24 other homes as well.
And in the day ahead, the former head of DC's Homeland Security Office is expected to plead guilty to tax fraud charges. Prosecutors say Millicent West filed false grant documents with the IRS. It happened when she ran the DC Children and Youth Investment Trust Corporation. She resigned last year after being named in court papers charging former Councilman Harry Thomas Jr. with stealing more than $350,000 that was in city funds.
A South African judge is expected to decide today whether Oscar Pistorius should be released on bail as he awaits trial on charges he murdered his girlfriend. The double amputee Olympian is accused of killing Riva Steenkamp on Valentine's Day. Now, Pistorius claims he mistook her for an intruder when he shot her through a bathroom door at his home. Prosecutors say he killed her after a fight. The decision comes as the lead detective on that case was removed after it was revealed that he faces attempted murder charges in a separate case.
Around Prince George's County, a shelter-in-place emergency preparedness training drill will take place. It's happening today at the county courthouse. That's in Upper Marlboro. The drill will be held in the Duval and Marbury wings only, and those wings will be closed today. The drill will impact only courthouse personnel, and it will take place from noon until 3 p.m. today. Another drill will also take place today, this one at the U.S. Naval Observatory in Northwest D.C. It's called Exercise Citadel Shield. An active shooter drill will be staged to resemble a real-life emergency. It'll take place from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m.
Anne Arundel County has a new leader. Thursday night, the council members chose Laura Newman to succeed John Leopold as county executive. Leopold resigned earlier this month after being convicted of misconduct. Now Newman, who heads the Howard County Economic Development Authority, was one of 16 candidates, including Maryland First Lady Kendall Ehrlich. Newman will serve out the remainder of Leopold's term.
Well, this morning we have a sausage recall to tell you about.
And Japan has its own idea of why Boeing's 787 Dreamliners are having some problems. Linda Bell joins us now live from Bloomberg headquarters in New York to explain. Good Friday morning to you, Linda.
Same to you, Scott and Natasha. Happy Friday to both of you. You mentioned Hewlett-Packard. That stock is on our radar today as the company forecasts second quarter profit that exceeded analyst estimates. Now, results were helped by cost cutting, which included job cuts. In fact, its CEO says it cut more than 15,000 jobs in its restructuring so far. Meantime, Japan's transport ministry has its own theory as to why Boeing's 787 Dreamliner is having problems. It says a foreign object probably caused a valve to temporarily open, causing an overflow of about 40 gallons of fuel to spill onto the ground. It says that probably happened to a Japan Airlines plane when it was readying for takeoff at Logan International Airport in Boston just last month. And if you're about to have sausage for breakfast, I should tell you there is a recall alert to talk about. Notley Foods, Smithfield, is voluntarily recalling more than 38,000 pounds of its mild sausage. That's because some packages may contain small pieces of glove particles. Now, it was distributed in retail outlets in Washington, D.C., as well as Maryland and other states. Now, the company said you can return the product where you bought it for a full refund. And those automatic spending cuts on the way could mean less food on the table to feed your kids if you're a low-income family. I'll explain that coming up in the next hour. Live at Bloomberg headquarters in New York, I'm Linda Bell reporting for ABC 7 News. Back to you.
All right, Linda, thanks so much. Time now 4:38, and it is about 30 degrees outside.
Still to come on Good Morning Washington, a local teacher goes from the classroom to a jail cell. Here are the disturbing allegations involving 2 students. Welcome back, everyone. 4:40 on this Friday morning. A live pic out now of the White House. Still in the dark. Light's not on yet, but you can see that flag on the roof there, and it's waving a little bit. There's some wind out there, Jackie.
Yeah, I see one light on, by the way.
Someone's
see that
hard at
upper
work.
window?
There you go.
Yeah, somebody's up. Good morning. Is it you, President Obama? Hello.
Good morning. What do we make of the wind? Because it's been the problem the last couple of days. That's why it's felt so cold.
Yeah, well, today the wind not as strong as it has been the last 2 days. So we've got a bit of a wind chill factor. But today our concern is the wintry weather that's moving in. And we're already starting to see that in parts of West Virginia and trying to sneak its way into Garrett County. You can see some pink. You can see some white. So this is a snow mix along with some sleet. Now, I do think for the most part this is going to hold off for the metro area until maybe noon today with little accumulation here. But along the Blue Ridge and areas to the west, we could see somewhere between a half of an inch to an inch of sleet snow accumulation. 32 degrees in D.C., 29 at Dulles, 27 in Gaithersburg at this hour. Our headlines today, the wintry mix expected through about mid-afternoon, and I do think it'll change over to some rain later on tonight. The rain will be heavier tomorrow, especially along and east of I-95. But hey, if you're looking for something good this weekend, we've got it for you. By Sunday, it should be a pleasant end to the weekend. We'll have more details in your 7-day forecast, but first it's time for traffic. Good morning, Jamie.
Now we can plan. All right. Good morning, Jackie. And boy, we get started off quiet from the traffic centers. It tries to warm up in here. And off we go. Take a look at 66 as you come inside the Beltway through Falls Church and Arlington. All of the travel lanes are open. Just seeing just a few cars heading in toward town onto Constitution Avenue, Pennsylvania Avenue. All those lanes are reported open. That was the overnight construction. Still watching you closely. If you're heading out the door anytime soon, didn't cause much of a backup, but do keep alert. Southbound 95 in Maryland as you approach the Beltway. Northbound BW Parkway, Route 295 as you head north toward Route 100. Crossing the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. Love to see this. Good time to get going. Natasha Scott, back to you.
All right. Thank you so much. 4:43 now and 30 degrees on this Friday morning.
And coming up, prepare for delays if you're taking Metro this weekend. Learn which lines will see changes, all because of track work.
4:45 now, and a bond hearing is set for today for a Rockville elementary school teacher charged with sexually abusing 2 students. Timothy Krupica has taught 6th grade at Meadow Hall Elementary since 2009. Now, he was arrested after 2 11-year-old female students came forward Wednesday. They say he inappropriately touched them multiple times beginning back in September, and they say he tried to force them to touch him. Well, the parents we talked to are stunned.
He played with all the kids. He's nice, easygoing. You talk to that guy, you feel like you know him forever because he's nice.
I've known him for a long time. I know the teacher he is and the person he is. Everyone's jumping to conclusions.
All right, that woman you just heard says she plans to be at Krupica's bond hearing today to show her support. Krupica has been placed on administrative leave.
And there are several developments in the debate over guns in America. A group of prominent black leaders will hold a news conference in D.C. It's happening today, all to talk about gun control. And a Maryland task force studying access to weapons by people who are mentally ill will also hold a meeting that takes place in Annapolis. These meetings come a day after a Maryland Senate committee approved an amendment to a bill that would ban someone from owning a gun if that person has been involuntarily committed for mental health reasons.
The latest now on a story we brought you Thursday as breaking news. Investigators believe an electrical failure may have caused a house fire in Glen Arden. They killed a father and 2 of his daughters. That fire broke out in their home on Leslie Avenue. Crews rescued the mother and 2 other girls ages 8 and 11. But the father, the 8-year-old's twin, and a 4-year-old girl did not survive. The house did not have a working smoke detector.
Washington Archbishop Cardinal Donald Wuerl will pay tribute to Pope Benedict before he leaves for the Vatican to help choose the pontiff's successor. Wuerl will give thanks during a noontime mass at St. Matthew's Cathedral in Northwest D.C. to celebrate the Feast of the Chair of St. Peter. The Cardinal will also celebrate Mass at the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. That takes place on Sunday. And the Dalai Lama is coming to the University of Maryland. The spiritual leader will deliver a lecture at the Comcast Center on May 7th. It's free and open to the public, but tickets are required. Ticket information will be released sometime next month. And you may want to give yourself some extra time if you plan on using Metro to get around this weekend.
Now, Orange Line trains will not be running between Vienna and Ballston from 10 tonight until closing on Sunday, although shuttle buses will be available. Red Line trains will single track between Friendship Heights and Van Ness and between Tacoma and Rhode Island Avenue. There is no work scheduled for the blue lines, yellow lines, or green lines. We have everything else you need to know about this weekend's track work on our website. Just go to WJLA.com.
And a big celebration is planned for President George Washington's 281st birthday today. His home, Mount Vernon, will be the site of this morning's naturalization ceremony for 50 new Americans. Then this afternoon, a wreath will be placed at his tomb.
4:49 now, and I guess it's time to ask Jackie if it'll be worthy of being outside for events today.
Yes. I guess it all depends on where you're from.
Chilly.
She'll probably say yes.
Well, you know, I think for the most part this morning it's going to be fine. It'll be cold. You'll need to bundle up. But I think most of the moisture, especially for the metro area, is going to be holding off until about the noon hour, maybe even into the middle of the afternoon. But the moisture is already starting to move in across West Virginia and should be pushing in towards the Blue Ridge later this morning. And winter weather advisories are in effect here from Hampshire through Hardy, Shenandoah, Rappahannock, Page, Madison counties, and everywhere to the west of there for the potential of up to an inch of some sleet and snow accumulating. I do think it'll start out as snow in many of these areas and then transition over to some sleet and even some freezing rain. Our temperatures are around or just below the freezing mark. It's 32 in D.C., 29 degrees at Dulles, and 27 in Winchester. And our satellite and radar picture showing you we're already clouded in all across the area. And here is that moisture trying to sneak its way on through, and some of that pink, likely the sleet mixing in with some of the snow this morning. Now, here's why this is kind of a tricky forecast for today, especially with timing on all of this, is that our energy on these systems is going to be splitting. Okay, so low pressure comes up here across the Midwest. This is part of that big storm. You saw the video earlier this hour from Kansas. And then down here, we're going to be seeing an area of low pressure developing. So it kind of splits the energy right on top of us. So I do think most of it's going to be light, and then we'll get heavier rain coming in, especially along and east of I-95 tomorrow, and then drying up tomorrow night and a good looking Sunday. So our bus stop forecast for today: We're looking for cloudy skies, 33 degrees at pickup. By recess or the lunch hour, we could see the light wintry mix and 35 degrees. Drop off time about 38 degrees with a chance of some showers. I think that transition will happen mid to late this afternoon in D.C. So keep it here for updates throughout the day. Right now, you need an update on the traffic. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. Interesting forecast and a mellow traffic report. It's quiet from the traffic center. Really not too much to tell you about. Good morning, Washington. Leaving Virginia and heading across the 14th Street Bridge. In fact, in each direction. This looks fabulous. No problems according to DDOT. 395, 95 out of Stafford. Travel lanes are open. Let's get you into Maryland on 270 between Frederick and the Beltway. Pretty much this is how all the cameras look as I check you out heading down through Rockville and down toward the lane divide. Speaking of Rockville, this looks good too. In downtown Rockville, no troubles. Nice start here. And as you head out of Columbia down toward Four Corners on Colesville Road, this looks good too. So good start. We hope it stays that way. Natasha Scott, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much. 4:51 now and 30 degrees on this Friday morning.
And Sanae Simpson and Arch Campbell are in California to cover Hollywood's biggest night. Of course, we're talking about the Oscars. Arch will tell us who he thinks will be the night's big winners.
And today on Katie, it's Happy Hour with Joan Rivers and her daughter Melissa. They talk about what it's like to work and live together. Also, the Rivers will discuss Oscar fashion. That's at 4 o'clock right here on ABC 7. In entertainment news, fans of Michael Jackson may want to make plans to get to Vegas.
Yeah, new show there. It's opening this summer and it's called Michael Jackson 1. It'll be performed at the Mandalay Bay, that resort and casino on the Strip. Preview performances start May 23rd and it'll officially premiere June 29th. The show is really the second collaboration between this company and Jackson's estate, and the first production was the traveling show Michael Jackson Immortal World Tour. So get your tickets, get your tickets.
Our Sanae Simpson and Arch Campbell are in California to cover the 85th Annual Academy Awards, which you can see Sunday night right here on ABC 7.
Do you see him in his tux? He had his tux on the other day in the newsroom. It was really cute. Anyway, before Arch left, he gave us his picks for who he thinks will be the big winners.
This year's Oscar buzz centers on Argo, Lincoln, the Silver Linings Playbook, and Zero Dark 30, and many of the Oscar contests feel like a good election. Too close to call.
How can I hold that all men are created equal when here before
Well, what'd you think of Tommy Lee Jones as abolitionist Congressman Thaddeus Stevens in Lincoln? The highly respected Jones was the early favorite to win Best Supporting Actor, but his competition includes Robert De Niro, the obsessive-compulsive father of the Silver Linings Playbook.
When life reaches out at a moment like this, it's a sin if you don't reach back. I'm telling you, it's a sin if you don't reach back.
I think De Niro's rousing finale speech will win him Best Supporting Actor.
Having sex with everybody in the office.
Were there any women?
Yes.
What was that like?
Hot.
And how about that Best Actress contest? Jennifer Lawrence holds her own among a formidable cast. I think it'll propel her to Best Actress.
You don't think she's a little young for the hard stuff?
Even though Jessica Chastain won raves for her driven CIA officer in Zero Dark 30. Now some no-brainer predictions. Best Actor, Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln. Best Supporting Actress, Anne Hathaway for Les Miserables. Best Director, since they snubbed Ben Affleck in Argo, Steven Spielberg for Lincoln. Best Picture, Argo. Argo will get the top prize, but I have a feeling the Silver Linings Playbook will win the most awards. With my Oscar picks, I'm Arch Campbell, ABC 7 Entertainment.
All right, well, we invite you to watch our special ABC 7 coverage of the Academy Awards live from Hollywood. Sine Simpson and Arch Campbell are there. They're going to have reports starting tonight at 5 o'clock.
Didn't he look spiffy?
He does.
Cleans up well, as does Sine.
4:57, 30 degrees out.
Still ahead here on Good Morning Washington. Call it a sweet move by one job seeker. Details on his resume candy bar.
Coming up, a local elementary school teacher is accused of sexually abusing 2 students. We're in Rockville as he prepares to head to court today.
Plus, the latest on the murder case against Olympian Oscar Pistorius. We expect to learn today if he will get bail as he awaits trial in the death of his girlfriend.
Well, at least this guy's enjoying all that snowfall in the Midwest. But what'll that storm system bring our way? Good Morning Washington at 5 a.m. begins right now.
Live and in HD, this is Good Morning Washington on your side.
And good morning, Washington. It is Friday, February 22nd. I'm Scott Thuman.
And I'm Natasha Barrett in for Sine right now. Some parts of our area could see a wintry mix later on today. Our storm watch coverage begins with meteorologist Jackie Jarris. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, good morning. Yes, I definitely think that we're going to get some of that around here, but it should stay relatively light. So hopefully it won't be a major issue for you. And late today, I think it's going to change over to some rainfall, at least in the metro area. So here's what we know for now. The moisture already steadily streaming in. We've got the cloudiness in place. Most of what you're seeing there on radar is not reaching the ground, but there is some light snow and a little bit of light sleet being reported into West Virginia at this time. As it sneaks into Luray and Winchester and Cumberland, send me a tweet. Let me know that it's coming down for you. Temperatures are certainly favorable for it, and it's really the key is the temperatures aloft. And even though we'll get above freezing this afternoon, I do think some sleet will continue to come down. Most of the moisture should hold off until about the noon hour for the DC metro, with 35 degrees then 36 and changing to rain, I think, by the evening hours. More details on the timing of this, plus a live report from meteorologist Adam Caskey coming up from the Belfort Furniture Weather Center. We'll head it over to traffic now with Jamie.
All right, much appreciated, and a pretty calm start here to our Friday morning trek. Made it to the end of the work week together, and here we go. We'll begin you around the Beltway. Virginia, Maryland, absolutely no troubles. On 395 Virginia, let's see if we have any delays yet. No, just a few cars. This is pretty much what I'm finding in most of the traffic cameras as I check you out here out of Stafford and up through Dale City, 66, the Greenway and the toll road. From Maryland to 70 between Frederick and the Beltway, you are in good shape too. So if you are heading out the door anytime soon, coming south of Clarksburg and down through to the Beltway, that looks good. Beltway at the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, you cross fine in each direction. Scott, Natasha, back to you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Residents across the Midwest are being urged to stay home this weekend as the area deals with a huge winter storm there. Parts of northern Oklahoma and Missouri saw 10 inches of snow, but it appears the highest amounts are in Kansas, with some areas seeing 17 inches. The weather postponed the Big 12 track and field championships, which were supposed to start today at Iowa State University.
5:03 now, and in the day ahead, a Rockville teacher has a bond hearing. Now, this is the teacher we've been talking about this morning who's accused of sexually abusing two students.
And Brianne Carter is live outside the school where that teacher works. That school, Meadow Hall Elementary School. Bree, good morning.
Good morning to you, Natasha. That bond hearing is set for 1 o'clock this afternoon. But first this morning, students will return here to class without one of their teachers. 6th grade Meadow Hall Elementary School teacher Timothy Krupica won't be in class today. Instead, he'll be in court. The 30-year-old is facing charges of sexual abuse of a minor.
What's going on? You know, it's a big surprise.
Montgomery County Police say two 11-year-old female students claim Krupica inappropriately touched them multiple times beginning back in September. The girls go on to say he also forced or tried to force them to touch him.
I've known him for a long time. I know the teacher he is and the person he is.
While some parents are outraged, others don't believe the claims.
There are many parents that we've spoken to today that will be in court with him, standing behind him, standing up for him because of the person he is and the teacher he is.
Now, officials say that he's been a teacher with the school since 2009. He's currently on administrative leave. Reporting live in Rockville, Brianne Carter, ABC 7 News.
All right, thank you, Brianne. 5:04 now, and the former head of DC's Homeland Security Office is expected to plead guilty to tax fraud charges.
John Gonzalez is live outside the U.S. District Court in Northwest D.C. with more on the hearing for Millicent West. Johnny?
Well, Natasha, this is a scheme involving a former council member who is now in prison. We can tell you Millicent West will be in federal court later today, charged with tax fraud. She was forced about a year ago to step down as the head of DC's Homeland Security Office. Well, most recently, she was running the Children, Youth, and Investment Trust Corporation. This group paid out about $400,000 in phony invoices. On the other side of those invoices, disgraced Ward 5 council member Harry Thomas. Of course, last year, Thomas pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. The mayor was asked about this yesterday. He said he really doesn't know the details. He wants to wait and find out more about this before he makes a comment. West is expected to plead guilty later today. Reporting live in Northwest Washington, John Gonzalez, ABC 7 News.
All right, Johnny, thanks. A South African judge could decide today if Oscar Pistorius should be released from jail as he awaits trial on charges he murdered his girlfriend. The double amputee Olympian is accused of killing Reva Steenkamp on Valentine's Day. Pistorius says he mistook her for an intruder when he shot her through a bathroom door at his home. Prosecutors say that he killed her after a fight. The ruling comes as the lead detective on the case was replaced after it was revealed that he faces attempted murder charges in a separate case.
Virginia House and Senate negotiators are near agreement on revisions for the second year of the two-year budget, but they are at odds over the pace of expanding Medicaid under the federal health care reform law. Now, the Senate favors expanding Medicaid to an additional 400,000 uninsured Virginians just above the poverty level. The House wants to defer the expansion. Governor Bob McDonnell is urging lawmakers not to expand Medicaid without major federal and state cost reductions first. The Virginia House and Senate are also set to vote today on a transportation compromise. Under that plan, gas and sales tax would generate an additional $880 million a year to maintain Virginia's highways. With House and Senate Republicans split over that plan, Democrats could determine the outcome. Governor Bob McDonnell supports the plan if it passes. It will be the first major reform to Virginia's highway financing system in 27 years. 30 degrees out, 5:07 is your time.
Still ahead here on Good Morning Washington, a look at what could be a very big trip for President Obama next week, how it could be tied to the sequestration showdown.
Good morning, Washington, and happy Friday. It's 5:10 and our temperature 32 degrees. We've got some Ugly weather headed our way later on today. A wintry mix is expected, including the D.C. metro area. Now, there are advisories in effect along and west of the Blue Ridge. This includes you in Mineral, Hampshire, Hardy, Shenandoah, Rappahannock, Page, Madison, and Rockingham counties. And that's for the potential of up to an inch of snow and sleet accumulating. Now, it is a relatively weak system because the energy is splitting, so it makes it a little bit tricky for us, as I think things are going to be kind of drying a little bit because of that. But I do expect that we could see some sleet and snow by the middle of the day, around the noon hour in D.C., and then changing over to some rain later on. So there's your bus stop forecast showing you a dry start with 33 degrees at pickup time, some sleet and snow with rain possible, and 35 degrees at recess and drop off time, 38 degrees, perhaps a mix, otherwise starting that transition over to some rain. We're going to go live now to meteorologist Adam Caskey, and he's got more details on what's happening out there this morning. Hey, Adam.
Good morning. It's a cold Friday morning. Actually, it is. This is Washington's actual birthday. I know we celebrated President's Day on Monday, but we thought it'd be appropriate to come down to the Washington Monument on his actual birth date. We're down here, no precipitation. It's cold, though. You can feel the temperatures down right around the freezing point. We're actually 31 degrees at the Storm Chaser, and I've been keeping an eye on our live Super Doppler 7 radar display here. And we don't have anything in the metro area yet, but a little bit of that action down to our southwest. I think we'll make it here by the middle of the day. So let's go live to live Super Doppler 7 radar and take a look at the temperatures as well. We'll look at it all for you right now. Temperature-wise, we're upper 20s to lower 30s. That area of white down to the southwest in the bottom left of your screen, that indicates the chance of a little bit of snow in parts of the Shenandoah Valley, the I-81 corridor, and approaching Madison and Rappahannock counties, especially for higher elevations, particularly. As Jackie said, the energy's splitting, so we're not going to get all that much, but possibly just a light little coating of sleet and light snow possible by midday. Temperature-wise, around freezing now, only in the 30s this afternoon. That's it from the National Mall. Let's go to Jamie now to look at our commute.
All right, Adam, and Friday morning trek starts out quiet, nice and easy for everyone. Maryland District and Virginia. North on Interstate 95, not too much to tell you about through Stafford and up to Dale City. Lorton, Newington to the Beltway travel lanes are open. It's good, nice and quiet, extending on to 395 across the 14th Street Bridge. And heading over the Anacostia bridges, so far, so good. So Friday morning around the Beltway too, that checks out fine across the American Legion Bridge. That looks good. And for our 270 ride, that's in good shape. Scott and Natasha, back to you.
Thank you, Jamie. Time now 5:13, and look at that. We're warming up. We're at 31 now. 1 degree.
Yeah. Coming up, one job seeker came up with some creative ways to post his resume by using a candy wrapper. Find out if he landed the job he applied for.
President Obama will visit a shipbuilding operation in Newport News. That happens on Tuesday. Now, this visit comes days before the March 1st deadline in which spending cuts kick in unless Congress acts to avoid them. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta is warning of furloughs for the vast majority of the Defense Department civilian workers. The president has called on House Speaker John Boehner and Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell about the looming spending cuts. The calls are his first in weeks to top Republicans in Congress.
5:16 now, and as we talk about sequestration, we continue to examine the different ways it would affect us, especially here in the D.C. region.
Now, we're hearing that the impact could be felt at the National Zoo in D.C. Jumi Alabanji from the live desk this morning. Jumi, what are you hearing?
Well, the zoo officials are telling the Washington Post that the good news is that they will be able to continue to feed and care for the animals, but there may be some programs that might face cuts. Now, here you see live on the Panda Cam, we've got one of the pandas going through their area right now. We know that most of the zoo's 110 keepers are considered essential personnel. So in the event of a government shutdown or furloughs, they would be taken care of as well. But the zoo officials do say that some projects, such as the planned acquisition of some more cheetahs for research, may be reconsidered. They also say that some job openings they have right now, like 5 curator jobs and numerous of animal keeper slots, will probably remain vacant if sequestration does happen. They say that this could be a doomsday scenario, but the good news is they're hoping for the best. They say they have enough money to keep the animals fed and get them their medication, but they might not have the money to hire additional staff to make sure all of that happens. Back to you guys in the studio.
Jumi, thanks. And thousands of federal workers could soon find themselves in for a longer trip to work. Fairfax County is considering eliminating that express bus service from Reston to the Pentagon and Crystal City. It's all in order to enhance service when the Silver Line Metro starts running later on this year. Officials are trying to get commuters to use Metro, but some riders say switching to Metro could significantly increase their commute. It appears Chuck Hagel has enough votes to become the next Secretary of Defense.
Hagel secured the necessary votes when Republican Senator Richard Shelby of Alabama changed sides and said he would vote for him. Initially, Shelby had joined other Republicans last week in an unprecedented filibuster of Hagel. That vote is expected next week. First Lady Michelle Obama is making a return to late-night TV. She will appear tonight on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon for the second time in about a year. Mrs. Obama will mark the 3rd anniversary of her fitness initiative, Let's Move.
Well, Jackie joins us now. Good to see you back. We're back together for a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So great to have you here.
These are live pictures out of Chicago. So if we think we're cold and windy, look no further than Chicago.
Right.
And you can see at the bottom of the screen there.
Yeah, the snow coming down. You know, Chicago's been about as bad as we have, if not worse, in terms of a snow drought. So the snow that they've received, it's still less than an inch right now, but it's going to pick up early this morning and this afternoon, and they could end up seeing their heaviest snowfall, which is going to be somewhere between about 3 and 5 inches. So that kind of puts it in perspective,
yeah,
doesn't it? Snow lovers, you can't go there. You got to go to Kansas. They had up to 17 inches of snowfall there. I know. It's been a crazy system, but the energy on this system is splitting now. So as it's arriving on our doorstep, I think most of what we're going to see today will be relatively light. So let's look at our radar and our satellite picture together, and it's showing you things are already trying to make their way in from the west. A lot of what you're seeing there painted out is virga. It's evaporating before it ever reaches the ground, but there are some reports of a few snowflakes. Let me know in Luray if you're starting to see anything here. I suspect not quite, but it looks like it is just off to our west where some of the heavier stuff is starting to come in. So a winter weather advisory is in effect for some Virginia and West Virginia counties, Rappahannock, Madison, Page, Shenandoah, Hardee, up towards Hampshire, and everywhere to the west of there. Only an inch maybe of accumulation because it's going to be so light, but it will continue throughout the better part of the day and into tomorrow morning. That advisory until 10 o'clock Saturday. 32 degrees, that's our temperature now. The wind chill down to 25 as the winds are coming in out of the north-northwest at this time at 8 miles per hour. Your temperature in Frederick, 28 degrees, even though you're not in the advisory, maybe a half an inch for you. 30 degrees in Manassas and 32 in Culpeper at this hour. As we look at the bigger picture, you can see the snow across the Midwest. There's Chicago, just kind of on the tail end of it, but low pressure is developing down here across the deep south, and ultimately that's going to take over and really control our weather. So our future cast will show you as we put it into motion. It's just going to be very light, and then tomorrow that moisture comes in, especially along and east of I-95. You'll have a better chance, and we will see rain rather than snow tomorrow, clearing out Saturday night, and your Sunday looks pretty good, so make your plans then for outdoors for the weekend. Today, mostly cloudy, a light wintry mix. It should be this afternoon, not this morning for the DC Metro, but areas to the west will get it first, 34 to 39 degrees. So it's going to be a raw, cold day. Tonight, raw, cold night with 32 to 36 and some of that rain. And your 7-day forecast showing you showers for your Saturday, 43 degrees. A good looking Sunday and Monday before we get a return of the showers, and temperatures kind of leveling off a little closer to where we should be now for this time of the year, as those days are getting longer and our average highs are getting warmer. Let's find out how the commute is this morning. It's Friday. Happy Friday, Jamie.
Oh, it is, Jackie. Note Sunday outside. Thank you. And kind of stealing the good day, the part of the day right now with the quiet start and the dry pavement. So this is really good for our start of our commute. As we get going around the Capitol Beltway, absolutely no problems to tell you about. Virginia 95, 395, your travel lanes are open for business. Let's put you on the cameras here. Some of our live shots, just the volume on the increase. Across the 14th Street Bridge, wanted to take you 395 and heading into our nation's capital. That's quiet, but I do have one incident in Northwest DC, 14th Street, south of Colorado, near Decatur Street. Had some emergency units there, so you might see some of that activity. No problems to report. Heading on to 70 early on, 95 and BW Parkway, also quiet. Scott and Natasha, back to you.
Thanks, Jamie. All right, when looking for a job, most of us send out, the whole paper resume, or probably by email now. I'm dating myself, aren't I? But not one guy we're talking about.
Yeah, he decided to print his resume on a candy bar wrapper, and we're told he landed the job that he applied for, but it's unclear if it was for his skills, his creativity, or if the hiring manager just had a sweet tooth. All right, in today's Tech Bites, Google adds a feature to its laptops.
Plaza Oracle tries to remove a flaw. Here's ABC's Rob Nelson.
In today's Tech Bites, Google challenges Microsoft and Apple. The search giant is now offering touchscreen versions of its Chromebook laptop computer. The Chromebooks, including these new Pixel models, rely on cloud-based software and storage rather than hard drives. Oracle is scrambling to plug the holes in its Java software after a recent series of cyber attacks on major tech companies like Apple, Facebook, and Twitter. Security experts say hackers right now see Java as the easiest way to break into systems. For just $19 a month, Republic Wireless customers get unlimited voice, data, and text on an Android smartphone, but USA Today's Ed Begg warns there are trade-offs.
Republic's offering only works with a single handset, a Motorola handset. It's kind of a mid-tier Android phone that actually runs an older version of Android.
There's no contract, but you do have to buy the phone. Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day. I'm Rob Nelson.
At a dry cleaner, we replaced people with a machine. Customers didn't like it. So why do banks do it?
Hello?
Hello? If your bank doesn't let you talk to a real person 24/7, you need an ally.
Hello?
Ally Bank. Your money needs an ally.
How do you measure happiness? By the armful? By the barrelful? The carful? How about by the bowlful? Campbell's soups give you nutrition, energy, and can help you keep a healthy weight. Campbell's. It's amazing what soup can do.
Dare to create all kinds of drama. New Revlon Photo Ready Primer and Shadow. Add sparkle or use wet so you can create whatever eye you're in the mood for. Dare to be Revlon.
7 is on your side this morning with disturbing findings about this year's flu shot. The CDC says the vaccine is only 9% effective in people over the age of 65. Now, health officials say they're baffled over why this shot isn't that effective, but it could explain why so many older people have been hospitalized this flu season. Despite the findings, the CDC stands by its recommendation that seniors do get vaccinated.
All right, time now 5:27, about 31 degrees outside, and we have much more news ahead at 5:30.
Coming up, an update on that winter storm that slammed the Midwest. Jackie will tell us exactly what we can expect in the D.C. region.
And this NFL star making 6 figures. So why has he landed a job at a fast food joint? We'll explain when Good Morning Washington continues.
Live and in HD, this is Good Morning Washington on your side.
Straight ahead, so much for those weekend plans in the Midwest, unless, of course, it includes snow removal. The storm system that dumped massive snow in that region is headed our way, but it appears we will avoid the worst of that winter weather. Good morning, Washington. It is Friday, February 22nd. I'm Scott Thuman.
And I'm Natasha Barrett in for Sinead this morning. We're on storm watch because parts of our area could see a wintry mix. Let's get right to meteorologist Jackie Jarris with more on this. Good morning, Jackie.
Hey, good morning, guys. Most of this will hit the metro later on today, more like the noon hour-ish or into the afternoon, but it's already trying to get started into counties just to our west. Let's take a look at where the advisories are. This is really basically along the Blue Ridge and everywhere to the west. And and this is in effect until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, up to an inch. That's all that we're expecting, but it could be hazardous on the roads at times because sleet and snow will be continuing on and off. Now, it is relatively light at this time, trying to develop right along I-81. If you live in Page County around Luray, send me a quick tweet or a Facebook message and let me know. It looks like some snow is starting to come down, even though the official obs are saying not yet. It could be just evaporating before it reaches the ground. 32 is our temperature in D.C., 29 at Dulles, and 28 degrees in Winchester. Our express forecast showing you just cloudy and 33 in D.C. at 9 o'clock. By noon, the light mix could begin, and it should change over to rain by late this afternoon or this evening. Our highs only in the mid to upper 30s, so a raw and cold day. The weekend, we've got half and half for you. We'll spell out the details in just another few minutes. But first, from the Belfort Furniture Weather Center, hopefully we're ending the work week with a good note on the commute. Jamie?
We are, and because we had that dry pavement and not too much going on around the area. In fact, take a look at 395 across the 14th Street Bridge. This looks good for everyone. We're quiet. We do have fire department activity reported Route 1 near Opitz Boulevard. Heading into the district in northwest D.C., 14th Street south of Colorado Avenue near Decatur Street had some police department activity as well. But other than that, not too much. And around the Beltway, here we go. Let's go Maryland, past New Hampshire Avenue, out of College Park. Love it. Out of Aspen Hill, Georgia Avenue. No problems. And then continuing down and through Silver Spring. You're looking good as we look at some of the other cameras around the region. You can see it's just been an easy ride so far. Scott, Natasha, back to you.
All right, we want to give you a look at weather conditions out in northern Michigan. Take a look at this. Residents had to dig out of waist-deep snow. Fortunately, a lot of roads are drivable thanks to snowplows and snowplow drivers who I'm sure have been through this routine more than once.
Oh my goodness, and they have plenty. Well, in the day ahead, a Rockville teacher is due in court. He's accused of sexually abusing 2 students.
Yeah, we want to go live now to Breanne Carter. She is outside the school where that teacher works, Meadow Hall Elementary School, and a lot of differing opinions on what's going on out there. Breanne.
Absolutely. Some parents certainly outraged, some parents questioning what's going on here. Now, we understand that Timothy Krupica, a teacher here at Meadow Hall Elementary, will not be in class today. Instead, he will be in a Montgomery County courtroom as he is currently facing charges. Now, Montgomery County police say that 2 11-year-old female students claim that Krupica inappropriately touched them multiple times beginning back in September. The girls go on to claim he also forced or tried to force them to touch him. Now, Krupica has been a teacher here since 2009. He is currently on administrative leave. Now, we understand that he will have a bond hearing scheduled for 1 o'clock this afternoon. Some parents of students here at the school say they plan to be there in the courtroom. Reporting live in Rockville, Breanne Carter, ABC 7 News.
And there are new developments in the debate over guns in America. Several African-American leaders will hold a news conference in D.C. today to talk about gun control. And a Maryland task force looking at access to guns by people who are mentally ill will meet today in Annapolis. The meetings come a day after a Maryland Senate committee approved an amendment to a sweeping gun control bill that would ban people involuntarily committed for mental health reasons from owning guns.
D.C. Mayor Vincent Gray is speaking out about allegations of sexual harassment within the D.C. Fire Department. At least 2 female cadets have filed complaints. They say 2 male instructors sexually harassed them. Fire Chief Kenneth Ellerby says no employee has made an allegation of physical sexual misconduct. Mayor Gray says he is looking into this dispute.
Frankly, we're always going to be concerned enough to do the investigation and find out what's underneath what's been alleged. And then based on what is determined, we'll take appropriate action.
Now, the fire department is conducting an internal investigation. D.C. Councilman Tommy Wells says if he is not satisfied with those results, he will call for hearings himself.
Meantime, the Anne Arundel County Council has chosen a new county executive. The council chose Laura Newman to succeed John Leopold. He resigned earlier this month after being convicted of misconduct in office. Newman, who heads the Howard County Economic Development Authority, was one of 16 candidates, including former Maryland First Lady Kendall Ehrlich. She will serve out the rest of Leopold's term. Back to D.C. D.C. Councilman Jim Graham is fighting back right now. Council Chair Phil Mendelson asked the council to reprimand Graham. Earlier this month, the City Ethics Board suggested Graham violated city ethics rules back in 2008. The board concluded he improperly intervened in a contract dispute. Graham says he's challenging the ethics board's ruling as well as Mendelson's effort to reprimand him. Time now 5:37, about 31 degrees outside.
Still ahead on Good Morning Washington, we're going to show you the unique way that one of the biggest airports in the U.S. is paying tribute to the late owner of the Lakers, Dr. Jerry Buss.
Oh, sure. Did you? Hi, this is Coach Tim from Thompson Elementary School. Good morning, Washington!
Holla! I love it. Everybody say it this morning. Good morning, Washington. Holla! It's Friday. We're all happy about that. That's for sure. But kids, I don't think you're going to get out of school early today, even though we do have some wintry weather headed this way. It's not enough. You're going to have to go to school, so bundle up, and you'll want the umbrella for later on today. 32 degrees, that's our temperature right now. The wind chill at 25, and our winds out of the north-northwest at 8 miles per hour. So a chilly start this morning. The clouds have moved in through the overnight, and we do have a little bit of winter weather developing to the west, right along the Blue Ridge and extending into West Virginia, and some of it will be sleet mixing in, but it's very light. Little accumulation is going to be expected throughout the day, but a winter weather advisory has been put in effect through tomorrow morning for areas like Hampshire, down through Shenandoah, Madison, Page, Rockingham, up into Garrett counties, and that's for the potential of up to an inch, I think, is the best that we're going to get out of all of this. And especially if you're up at around 1,000 feet or more, you'll have the greater potential for seeing some accumulation. We'll get some of that mix here in the D.C. metro area, but it will be little to no accumulation. Our temperatures staying above the freezing mark, so we think the roads will be okay, meaning those kids will be staying in school today. How about that? For more details on what we can expect later today and into the weekend, let's go live to Meteorologist Adam Caskey. You're out there for Washington's birthday today.
Ocean this morning, huh? Chief meteorologist. Yeah, right. If only. So we're down here on the National Mall, right outside the Washington Monument. You can see actually the scaffolding getting ready to go up in a few lines that they have down the monument. I think they're getting ready to do the necessary repairs that they've been talking about for a while since the big earthquake. Let's talk temperatures. 31 degrees here at the Storm Chaser truck. So obviously another cold morning. The wind isn't whipping too much, nothing like the past couple of days. Let's first take a look at area-wide temperatures, then we'll jump into the forecast for today and take a look at the numbers. For the most part, you'll see upper 20s to low 30s. 25 in Hagerstown, 28 in Frederick, 32 in Quantico and at Ragged National, and 32 in Culpeper. Here's a look at our forecast for today. I do think we'll have a little bit of sleet, maybe mixed with snow around the metro area this midday and into the early afternoon, but really not a big deal. Possibly an isolated light coating here and there on some of the side streets and grassy surfaces, but that would really be it. This is not a big deal today. Highs are going to be cold again, well below average. In the 30s, mid to upper 30s. Looking ahead to the weekend, tomorrow we're looking at rain, probably early in the morning before you wake up. On into the afternoon, some showers are likely, 43 for the high. Then we'll salvage a good Sunday with sunshine and right near 50 degrees. That's your entire weekend outlook. We'll have your 7-day forecast coming up. Now, let's go back to Jamie with our commute. Any new issues so far this morning?
Oh, funny you should ask, Adam. Actually, we had been so quiet just a few moments ago. Fire and rescue units arrived to the scene of this crash. Maryland Beltway, that's where we're busy now. This is the outer loop westbound, heading from College Park and around toward 270. Now, the vehicles involved, they were able to get to the shoulder, but you'll see the fire and rescue units there. Definitely will be a distraction. In fact, let's go back to New Hampshire Avenue and see if we have any of the delays forming yet. Again, this is on the outer loop. We're still okay, but watch if you're leaving anytime soon from College Park. This is right after you would exit onto University Boulevard, right there at that merge. Otherwise, we're quiet, no problems on 270 early on, Virginia, 66, 95, 395, and into the district. Good. Natasha, Scott, back to you.
All right, thank you very much. 5:43 now, 31 degrees on this Friday morning.
Coming up, a look at preps ahead of Sunday's Academy Awards. Why the show's producers decided to go with Seth MacFarlane as host.
Coming up tonight at 5, it's Oscar time. Arch Campbell and Sine Simpson are in Hollywood to bring us a live report coming up at 5. We'll talk to the CIA spy played by Ben Affleck in the movie Argo. Get his take on Argo's chances as we head into the big Oscar weekend. Join us at 5.
And we're just 2 days away from the Oscars, and crews continue to prepare ahead of Hollywood's biggest night. We're hearing from the show's producers about why they chose the host, Seth MacFarlane, for the big ceremony. They say he's funny and he can also sing.
We had an instinct that in the lines of hosts like Johnny Carson and Bob Hope, Seth might fit in terms of a reinvention.
Yeah, and you can see who takes home Oscar Gold Sunday night right here on ABC 7. LAX Airport is paying tribute to late Jerry Buss, who owned the LA Lakers team.
Yeah, the pylons at the airport are shining in purple and gold in memory of Buss. They say they'll stay that way until sunrise. 80-year-old Buss died Monday after his battle with cancer. Now, a running back for the St. Louis Rams has picked up a side gig at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, this is interesting. Terrence Ganaway makes 6 figures, but the former Baylor standout says he got the job to try to stay out of trouble. He's not even sure how much he makes at Jimmy John's. He's guessing the minimum wage of $7.25 or maybe $7.50 an hour.
Green poked away. Suleiman stayed home, and he'll be rewarded on the other end with a stop.
Duke proved to be way too much for Virginia Tech in Blacksburg last night. It was the Blue Devils' first game since losing at Maryland, so they had something to prove, and they did so, blowing out the Hokies. Final score there, 88-56. The nation's leading scorer, Eric Green, had 22 in the defeat. Now, Tech is now 2-11 in the ACC.
And the Capitals were back in action at the Verizon Center, with Caps racking up 24 penalty minutes. A lot of that action was viewed from the sin bin. Tim Brandt has the recap.
And hello again, everybody. The Capitals started a 3-game homestand last night against a very talented Devils team, which sits near the top of the NHL East. Folks, the Caps hadn't beaten a playoff-type team yet this season. Let me take you back downtown. Scoreless game, second period. Caps trying to rock the red. Matthew Perreault, where is he? He lights the lamp, start the siren. It was 1-0 Washington, and they had the early momentum. But the Caps were sloppy with the puck. They had too many penalties. The Devils outshot them. Ilya Kovalchuk right there with the game winner, and the Capitals have still not beaten an upper echelon team. They lose 3-2 to Jersey.
That's the way the game went. We took too many penalties, and that's so as far as we're eager to get back out there right now. I don't think we're changing our game at all.
The Caps play at home on Saturday against the Devils again. There's a look at sports. Have a great day, everybody.
Coming up new at 6 o'clock on Good Morning Washington, the FBI cracks down on misconduct within its own office.
Plus, a boy calls 911 to file a report, but learns mom's house rules don't break any laws.
In scandals, Kerry Washington honed her acting skills right here in Washington. We'll tell you why her former college professors aren't surprised by her success. That's all ahead, new at 6 o'clock.
And strange things, strange things do happen around TV stations, and this next story is one of them.
Yeah, take a look at this. Dog riding monkeys. Oh yeah, dog riding monkeys racing down the hallways at WXIN TV in Indianapolis on Thursday. All part of a segment promoting an upcoming bull riding show. We're told that the female monkey won that race, but only because she cheated and didn't go all the way down the hallway.
I love
Look at
her. I want those monkeys
Bring them here.
Best video of the day.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's probably Whiplash. You know, Whiplash, the famous dog riding monkey that goes to all the rodeos. I bet that's who that is probably.
This is why people want monkeys as pets, because they really are cute, even though you're not supposed to have them for pets.
It's good stuff.
I'll trade in some coworkers for those monkeys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our annoying habits of coworkers, by the way.
What did you just say?
I'm looking forward to our annoying coworker segment coming up in another few minutes.
Wait for that, right?
I know.
Thuman's not touching this.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we won't say what those annoying things
So the forecast.
So the forecast, it's annoying when people don't shut up and get to the weather, right? I know you're all thinking that right now, aren't you? Just get on with it, Jairus. Okay, so let's get on with it and show you where the rain and the snow and the sleet and the clouds are at this hour. And that's what we're seeing here is a little bit of moisture off to the west. Most of this is not reaching the ground, but we're getting a little bit of snowflakes. It's light precipitation. It's going to stay light throughout the day today, and it's going to make things kind of tricky because we do think that the accumulation is going to stay minimal, around an inch or less. Winter weather advisories in effect along the Blue Ridge and everybody to the west of there for that potential. And this advisory in effect until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So it's going to be more of a prolonged event. This does not include the DC metro area, but we will get in, I think, on some of the sleet and snow, but no accumulation for us, and our temperatures staying at or above the freezing mark. So hopefully roads are going to be okay. Kids are going to be in school today. Wind chill index 25 right now. The wind's north-northwest at 8 miles per hour. It's 28 in Frederick this morning, 25 in Hagerstown, 32 in Culpeper, 30 in Manassas, and 29 degrees at Washington Dulles Airport. Now the energy of the system, watch this as it moves across the Ohio River. Notice how it just kind of breaks up here over the mountains. The energy is splitting, some of it pushing up to the north across the Midwest, and a new area of low pressure developing along the south. And that's what's going to come at us tomorrow and give us a better chance of seeing some rain then. So our futurecast having a pretty good handle on it, bringing in just some light precipitation, likely a mix, especially to the west, and then the rain along I-95 into the east, especially tomorrow. We could pick up more like a half of an inch of rain tomorrow compared to just a little spitting we're going to see later on today. So our forecast here looking for mostly cloudy skies, a light wintry mix mainly after the noon hour for the metro, 34 to 39 degrees. For tonight, looking for cloudy skies with rain. It's going to be a raw night, 32 to 36 for those temperatures. And our 7-day forecast will feature the rain tomorrow, but a great end of the weekend with 50 degrees and some sunshine on Sunday, and a pretty good start to the work week next week as well. How about the end of our work week today, and how's that commute, Jamie?
Good, and we have no problems either on our public transportation. MARC trains, Metro Rail, VRE on time, on schedule. We're overhead of this commute. Here we are in Silver Spring. This is the Beltway outer loop westbound right after you would exit onto University Boulevard. You can still see a lot of activity. Have everything, it looks like mostly confined to the right shoulder, but that right lane crowded on the approach. We'll take a look back here at the delays. So leaving College Park and around toward 270. This is you, outer loop near University Boulevard. Seeing some of that volume here as we trek back here toward I-95. Not so bad. We had been very light before this crash happened. Now beyond good over toward 270 across the American Legion Bridge. No problems to report on 270 early on. Scott's Natasha, back to you.
Thank you, Jamie. Well, you may not realize it, but you could be making your coworkers miserable.
I don't know what you're talking about. To explain, let's get to Bloomberg's Linda Bell. She's live in New York with that, and why the automatic spending cuts could mean less food on your kid's plate. Linda?
Yeah, let's begin with the more serious story first. About a week from now, automatic spending cuts will kick in unless Congress and President Obama come to a budget agreement. Now, one program that could be affected, a government nutrition program called WIC. That's the Women and Infants and Children's Program, and it allows kids in low-income families to get free healthy food, including milk, fruit, and vegetables. Now, Bloomberg reports that administrators of WIC would have to trim their caseloads by more than 500,000 applicants or participants nationwide. And other programs that could be impacted, early childhood education, home heating assistance, and domestic violence prevention. All right, on a lighter note, as you head to work today, chances are you'll face that one coworker that you find annoying. We all have one, right? Well, Salary.com broke down the traits that coworkers hate the most. It includes the guy with no email etiquette who types in all caps, the condescending coworker, or maybe the person who shares a little too much information. Another big sin at work, those who are slobs and are messy and disorganized. Live at Bloomberg headquarters in New York, I'm Linda Bell reporting for ABC 7 News. Scott and Natasha, I'm sure none of us are one of those bad coworkers.
Oh, no, but we won't name names, of course. Linda, good to see you. Time now, 5:55 and 31 degrees.
Coming up, Drew Peterson learns his sentence for murdering his third wife. We've got details on his outburst in court.
All right, checking headlines from around the nation this morning at 5:58. It's 38 years in prison for former Chicago area police officer Drew Peterson. A judge handed down that sentence yesterday. Peterson was convicted in September of murdering his third wife, Kathleen, back in 2004. Now, in court, Peterson lost his cool. He shouted, quote, "I did not kill Kathleen."
He was able to blow off steam. He's got a lot of anger over the years, as he said, and told everybody how he felt. I think that people could see what he was coming from and how he felt about what happened to him.
Now, Peterson is also a suspect in the 2007 disappearance of his fourth wife, Stacy Peterson, but he has not been charged in that case. He maintains she ran off with another man and is still alive.
Former First Lady Laura Bush has asked to be removed from a new ad campaign in support of gay marriage. Now, the ad by the Respect for Marriage Coalition features a clip of the former First Lady talking about marriage in a 2010 interview with CNN. The group has complied with her request and will start running new ads which feature President Obama and former Vice President Dick Cheney this weekend. 5:59, we've got another hour of news ahead of you, and it starts right now.
Live and in HD, this is Good Morning Washington on your side.
I've known him for a long time. I know the teacher he is and the person he is.
Startling accusations against an elementary school teacher in Rockville. Brian Carter will be live with details and reaction on that one.
Plus, we're just a few hours away from a decisive vote in Virginia on landmark highway funding reform.
And taking a look outside, it is a chilly morning. This is right outside our studios here in Arlington. Bundle up as you get ready for work today. Hi, good morning, Washington. I'm Natasha Barrett in for Sine Today.
And I'm Scott Thuman. Glad to have you along on this Friday. And we're beginning with Storm Watch this morning because we're keeping an eye on the massive winter storm that has dropped several inches of snow across the plains and Midwest.
Yeah, hazardous driving in Kansas City, Missouri. Look at this. A bus sliding on the snow and ice right into a pole, knocking that pole down. Well, now let's get a look at the forecast, our forecast, with Jackie Jarris. Good morning, Jackie.
Well, good morning. Well, that 9 inches of snow they had there in Kansas City is not heading our way, but a light wintry mix is, and that could create some hazardous driving conditions along the Blue Ridge and areas to the west, but we don't think it'll be too bad here into the metro area. Right now, all of the precipitation is extremely light, and live super Doppler is only picking up a little bit right along the I-81 corridor, not reaching the ground yet in Page County and into Culpeper County. If you start to see some of those flakes, send me a tweet and confirm it for me, will you? There are winter weather advisories in effect along the Blue Ridge and areas off to the west for the potential of up to an inch of snow and sleet mixing, and that's through tomorrow morning. So that gives you an idea of how light we expect it to be. Temperatures really for the most part around and just below the freezing mark. 33 at DC, 30 at Dulles, and 28 right now in Winchester. We'll only make it in the mid to upper 30s, and most of the precip holds off until about the noon hour in DC. More details in your 7-day forecast, but first from the Belfort Furniture Weather Center, we need our traffic information this morning. Hey, Jamie.
Good morning, and I'll show you some busy traffic, Maryland, but just so you know, Virginia district's pretty much quiet, not too much to tell you about. It's the Beltway where we've had two separate accidents near University Boulevard. We'll go overhead with News Chopper 7. Let's walk you through this coming out of College Park and heading over toward 270. You can see a lot of help at the scene of this incident. Blocks the right lane. This is the outer loop westbound as you approach the exit for University Boulevard. The second one beyond this to the shoulder. So we have one lane blocked, again, coming out of College Park and around to University Boulevard. If you're joining on, say, from Colesville Road or Georgia, Connecticut Avenue, you're beyond all this mess. Scott, Natasha, back to you.
All right, thank you so much. 6:02 now, and a story that's generating a lot of controversy this morning. It's regarding a Rockville Elementary School teacher who is heading to court.
That teacher comes from Meadow Hall Elementary School in Rockville. Bree Carter live from there with more. Bree, good morning.
Good morning to you, Natasha. Well, the bond hearing for this teacher is scheduled for 1 o'clock this afternoon. Meanwhile, this morning, students will be heading into class without one of their teachers. Sixth grade Meadow Hall Elementary School teacher Timothy Krupica won't be in class today. Instead, he'll be in court. The 30-year-old is facing charges of sexual abuse of a minor.
What's going on? You know, it's a big surprise.
Montgomery County Police say two 11-year-old female students claim Kruppika inappropriately touched them multiple times beginning back in September. The girls go on to say he also forced or tried to force them to touch him.
I've known him for a long time. I know the teacher he is and the person he is.
While some parents are outraged, others don't believe the claims.
There are many parents that we've spoken to today that will be in court with him, standing behind him, standing up for him because of the person he is and the teacher he is.
Now, again, that hearing expected to get underway at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We understand that he's been a teacher here since 2009 and is currently on administrative leave. Reporting live in Rockville, Brianne Carter, ABC 7 News.
Thank you, Brianne. D.C.'s former Homeland Security Director is also set to appear in court today. Millicent West is expected to plead guilty to tax fraud charges. Prosecutors say she filed false grant documents with the IRS when she ran a children's organization. West resigned last year after being named in court papers charging Councilman Harry Thomas Jr. with stealing city funds. We're going to have much more on this story coming up in a live report at 6:30.
Now checking news from around Montgomery County. The school superintendent there is making some changes to his budget. The amended budget released yesterday includes an additional $7 million in state aid and more than $15 million in cost savings. Superintendent Joshua Starr says this new budget lets him move money to other places, including employee raises. The school board is scheduled to vote on the budget Monday.
The Virginia House and Senate are set to vote today on a transportation compromise. Now, under that plan, gas and sales taxes would generate an additional $880 million a year to maintain Virginia's highways. With House and Senate Republicans split over that plan, Democrats could determine the outcome. Governor Bob McDonnell supports the plan, and if it passes, it will be the first major reform to Virginia's highway financing system in 27 years. Checking news around Prince George's County, an emergency preparedness drill is scheduled today at the county courthouse in Upper Marlboro. Officials say the Duval and Marbury wings will be closed during this drill, which is scheduled to be held from noon to 3 p.m. That drill will only affect court employees.
And a big celebration planned for President George Washington's 281st birthday. That's today. A naturalization ceremony for 50 new Americans will happen at his home in Mount Vernon. And this afternoon, a wreath will be placed at his tomb.
31 degrees out on this Friday morning. 6:06 is your time.
Still ahead here on Good Morning Washington, why the FBI is forced to crack down on some misconduct by its own employees.
Welcome back, everyone. 6:09 on this Friday morning. A live look out at the White House on this rather chilly start to our weekend.
Slowly, some people waking up there. They're always working. Do they ever sleep? Jackie Jarris joins us now with more on how it looks out there for us.
Well, not terrible overall. We are going to get a little sleet and snow mixing in with our rain today, but it's not going to accumulate to anything in D.C., and our temperature should be above the freezing mark. But areas to the west, not quite as well. 28 degrees in Winchester, is 26 in Martinsburg. We've got 27 in Gaithersburg and 33 right now at Reagan National Airport. The clouds have moved in from the overnight, and there you can see some of this light snow trying to kick in. The only report I could find was in Harrisonburg in West Virginia. Most of this is not reaching the ground, and I think most of the rain and snow is going to hold off until after the noon hour for today. Our system is kind of splitting with the energy, some heading up to the north and some heading down to the south. It's going to be very difficult to travel today, especially into the southeast where the rain will be heavy. We've got a live picture to show you from Atlanta, Georgia this morning, where they're going to end up with 1 to 2 inches of rain and flooding concerns. It's the nation's busiest airport there, so make sure you call ahead as we do expect to see some delays. Around here for today, we do expect that you'll be going to school, so your bus stop forecast today, cloudy and 33 at pickup time. Some rain and sleet will be possible at recess, and then this afternoon you'll likely want to grab the umbrella for that as well, but it will be light. More details on your weekend forecast coming up, but first it's time for traffic. Hey, Jamie.
Good morning, and I want to give everyone a heads up. If you use the MARC train system, we have a cancellation of a Brunswick train, 890. They've stopped that train. Unfortunately, the train hit a deer, so passengers will be using train 872. So MARC Brunswick train commuters, a little extra time needed. Centerville, Virginia, crash before you get to I-66 is on northbound 28 at 29 Lee Highway. Virginia, that's all we really have to tell you about. Maryland, we're busy on the Beltway, though, but both accidents, outer loop near University Boulevard, cleared to the shoulder. So some good news there. Scott and Natasha, back to you.
All right, thanks for those updates. 6:11, 31 degrees.
Coming up, some incredible pictures from the massive winter storm that slammed the plains and Midwest. Good Morning Washington will be right back. 6:15, and we are on storm watch now as the nation's heartland is feeling the effects of that massive winter storm.
That storm dumped more than 1.5 feet of snow in areas including Kansas. Nearly 200 snowplows were deployed overnight in Chicago. The storm's next target is the upper Midwest. From Kansas to Missouri, hazardous driving conditions caused highways to be shut down.
Just got out of control, lost control due to the weather condition. And
Scary?
It's scary. Yes, it is.
Some people in the Midwest welcome the snow. Farmers there say the moisture will get their spring crops growing. So that's good news for them, right?
6:15, here's a live picture of Chicago right now, downtown. We showed you this earlier, and in the light, you could really see some of the snow trickling through that shot. But Jackie, you're saying
starting to wind down a little bit in Chicago already.
Okay.
Yeah, they only got about an inch. So Chicago's has been dealing with as much of a snow drought as we have, really, quite honestly. They were hoping for getting a little bit more. Yeah, some people don't want it and are happy to see that, and other people are like, bring it on.
You know, it's different when you have to work out in it. It's like, but it's beautiful to look at. Hey, if I was a kid that could have school off, bring it.
I like it when it comes down, but then when it melts and gets slushy and dirty and yucky and in your car and you got to wash it, and no, that's no fun either, right? Okay, so none of that around here, and the storm is really weakening as it approaches our area. The energy is splitting, so we're just going to have a little bit of spitting today, not much more than that. So here you can see on Live Super Doppler, it's showing some of that white picking up, but most of what you're seeing there is not reaching the ground. We've had very few reports of snowflakes, a little bit in Harrisonburg. I saw right along the I-81 corridor in areas off to the west, but I have not heard any reports yet down into Culpeper, over into Page County. So if you do see any snowflakes, please send me a little tweet, but it looks like it's not hitting the ground there, at least not just yet. So as we head throughout the day today, our moisture is going to start to fill in, and we do have a chance of getting this throughout much of the day today in areas to the west, and that's where we have the winter weather advisory in effect for the Blue Ridge, and we do expect this to continue into tomorrow morning before everybody changes over to some rain. So do see that the DC metro area is not included. We will get the wintry mix here. It will be light, but not enough to cause too much problems. 33 degrees in DC, 30 in Dulles, 32 in Culpeper, 28 degrees in Winchester at this hour. And our wind chill factor not too bad because it's just not too blustery. All right, watch as this comes at us. Notice how it's all just kind of fizzling and fading out here. Energy is moving up to the north, and a new area of low pressure is developing to the south. If you saw that live shot from Atlanta, all of that heavy rain is going to be headed that way. Now that low will move up towards the coast. It will head our way, and tomorrow this is going to be a heavier rain event, especially along and east of I-95. A low develops off the coast, and Boston's going to get hit with a nor'easter once again. So some rough travel late in the weekend for New England. Mostly cloudy today, a light wintry mix this afternoon. Our temperatures between 34 and 39 degrees. And for tonight, cloudy with rain. It's going to be kind of a raw, cool, damp sort of day. Now the weekend is upon us, and meteorologist Adam Caskey has more details on what to expect. Hey, Adam.
Yeah, it looks like we'll have some improvements this weekend. Right now it's a chilly 30 degrees on the National Mall, but we'll be warming closer to 50, I think, by Sunday. Let's take a look at that weekend forecast. Today, that light wintry mix, not a big deal. Mainly just snow and sleet with possibly minor accumulations on the grassy surfaces. That would be it. Tomorrow, 43 with rain. It's going to be a damp Saturday with areas of rain, especially along and east of 95. Then by Sunday, we'll salvage the second half of the weekend. Sunshine and right near 50. And by the way, that's exactly average. That's where we should be this time of year. But so far, February has been running below average temperature-wise. And a look ahead into next week, temperatures, I think, will be right around that 50-degree mark again on Monday with a good amount of sunshine. We'll have more on that 7-day forecast coming up. Now let's go to Jamie with the commute. Is it the Beltway where we have the big issue now?
2 accidents, yes, Adam. Beltway, you are paying good attention here. Maryland University Boulevard. I'm so glad our viewers are with us. Volume through that stretch, but really the Friday morning light volumes in our favor. So let's go live overhead with News Chopper 7. We'll walk you through this outer loop westbound right near University Boulevard. We had 2 separate accidents, both cleared to the shoulder. Now, on a typical morning when we're jammed, we'd normally be out of green. There's one right there to the left. We'd normally be jammed out of Greenbelt, but our lineup here, I know it looks slow, but it begins just before New Hampshire Avenue. I know, look at that thick delay here. But again, both accidents over to the shoulder. Quick peek in Centerville. I'll put you on the map, give you a heads up. Northbound on 28 before I-66 at Lee Highway for the crash. Scott and Natasha, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jamie. 6:19 now, and retailers report mediocre sales. In Hollywood, it seems, expects much of the same at the box office this weekend.
And we'll get to your business headlines in just a moment. First, here's a look at what's still on tap for Good Morning Washington. At 6:25, how President Obama thanked the man who helped leak the secretly recorded video of Mitt Romney's infamous 47% of voters comments.
At 6:47, Scandal's Kerry Washington got her start right here in the nation's capital. We'll tell you why her former college professors aren't at all surprised by her success.
And at 6:55, the half-court shot everyone's flipping over. Now here's America's Money with Diana Perez.
Good morning. Topping America's Money, putting the brakes on consumer spending. Walmart is the latest retailer forecasting lower sales. The giant retailer blames the newly restored payroll tax, but there are also worries about the big increase in gas prices. The Agriculture Department says there's no reason to expect another dry year, so there should be higher crop yields. And lower prices for crops will mean less cost for meat, poultry, and dairy farmers, so the outlook for food prices this year is good. Young adults are aggressively cutting their debt load, lowering it by almost a third in a 3-year period. By contrast, the debt for households headed by those 35 and older only declined 8%. And Snitch is one of just 2 new films opening this weekend, but it's only likely to take in a mediocre $12 million. Hollywood expects many fans to stay home and watch the Oscars instead here on ABC. And that's America's Money. I'm Diana Perez.
The best way to see Europe is with Royal Caribbean. All this and Europe, only on Royal Caribbean. Book your European cruise today. Call 1-800-ROYAL-CARIBBEAN.
No matter what city you're playing tomorrow, you can't let a cold keep you up tonight. Vicks NyQuil, powerful nighttime 6-symptom cold and flu relief.
If you don't feel good when you leave the bathroom, you've got the wrong toilet paper. You want it to get you clean. Gently. As long as I use Quilted Northern Ultra Plush, I'm happy. And positive I'm clean.
Quilted Northern Ultra Plush with the Interlux layer for a comfortable, confident clean or your money back.
The FBI cracking down on sexting among its employees. CNN obtained the confidential internal FBI reports sent to workers, apparently in an effort to deter further sexting misconduct. The FBI's assistant director says there have been cases of employees using their government-issued devices to send racy texts, nude photos. Workers were reminded the phones are for official use only.
Well, after a bit of a delay, it now appears that Chuck Hagel does have enough votes to finally be confirmed as defense secretary.
Hagel can thank Republican Senator Richard Shelby of Alabama, who has changed sides and said he would vote for him. Initially, Shelby joined other Republicans last week in a filibuster of Hagel. The confirmation vote is expected next week. Well, former President Jimmy Carter's grandson says President Obama showed him nothing but gratitude at a meeting last week.
James Carter told CNN he played a role in leaking the secretly recorded videos of Mitt Romney's infamous 47% comments.
Then Obama said, "Hey, great, get over here." And then, and it kind of half embraced me, I want to say. Put his arm around me and we shook hands, and he thanked me for my support several times.
Now, Republicans say that video of Romney saying 47% of Americans are dependent on the government and support President Obama may have contributed to his loss. Meantime, a CNN poll finds that 52% of Americans think the president is doing a good job.
Time now 6:26, and there's still another half hour here of Good Morning Washington.
Coming up, a local elementary school teacher prepares to head to court today, accused of sexually abusing 2 students. We'll have more details on that controversial story coming up right after the break.
Live and in HD, This is Good Morning Washington, on your side.
Straight ahead at 6:30, some mixed reaction after a Rockville elementary school teacher is charged with sexually abusing 2 students.
Plus, Maryland lawmakers work late into the night to move a key piece of sweeping gun control legislation forward.
And it's the shot people are flipping over, how a college cheerleader swished a half-court shot. Good morning, Washington. It is Friday, February 22nd. I'm Scott Thuman.
And I'm Natasha Barrett, in for Sine this morning. We are on storm watch right now as the winter storm moves into the Northeast. Let's check in with meteorologist Jackie Jarris with more on this one. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, guys. Well, the storm is weakening and kind of splitting its energy on top of us. And so we're going to come out with very light precipitation. We do have a winter weather advisory in effect along the Blue Ridge and areas off to the west for the potential of up to an inch of snow and sleet accumulating. But that's through tomorrow morning. So that gives you an idea of how long it's going to take for much of this to accumulate. Now in the D.C. metro area, little to no accumulation, and I do think most of the sleet and snow will hold off until after the noon hour before it switches over to some rain. Our temperature already above the freezing mark, so roads hopefully are going to be fine. We'll have to watch those elevated surfaces. 28 degrees in Winchester, 25 in Hagerstown, 30 degrees at Dulles right now. Kids are going to school, and I don't think the weather's going to be bad enough to get you out early either. So grab the umbrellas. It's going to be a little wet, I think, on the way home. That's the latest here from the Belford Furniture Weather Center. Let's check on traffic. Hey, Jamie.
Good morning. We're busy on the Maryland Beltway. In fact, latest problem just coming in. There's a car fire, Maryland Beltway on the outer loop north. If you're coming around, say, from Andrews toward 50, the John Hanson Highway, it's north of Ritchie Marlboro before you get to 214 Central Avenue. It looks like it's quite intense. Fire and rescue units on the way. But again, this is the outer loop of the Beltway before you get to 214 Central Avenue. So you need to know that as you head out the door. We'll get you beyond that through College Park and Silver Spring. We're jammed up. We had 2 separate accidents. Outer loop near University Boulevard. Take a look here. They are all confined to the shoulder, but delays from College Park past this point. Scott, Natasha, back to you.
All right, thank you very much. 6:31 now, and one of the big stories we've been talking about all morning long is about a teacher at Rockville Elementary School who is heading to court today.
Yeah, that school, Meadow Hall Elementary School in Rockville. Brianne Carter is live from there with more on this story that's been developing since last night. Bree, good morning.
Good morning to you, Natasha and Scott. Timothy Krupica will not be in school today. Instead, as you said, he will be heading to a court hearing that is expected to get underway about 1 o'clock this afternoon, now that he is facing charges. Now, Montgomery County Police say that 2 11-year-old female students claim Krupica inappropriately touched them multiple times beginning back in September. Now, the girls go on to claim he also forced or tried to force them to touch him. Now, Krupica's been a teacher here since 2009. Some parents say they know the 30-year-old very well and that they're not sure they believe the claims. Other parents say that they are outraged. Some parents even planning to be in that bond hearing scheduled for later this afternoon. Reporting live in Rockville, Brianne Carter, ABC 7 News.
All right, thank you, Brianne. Of course, we're also talking about another story that's going to involve court, and that's about Millicent West, who was the former D.C. Homeland Security and Emergency Management Director. She's been charged with tax fraud.
Yeah, and it's all going on at the courthouse in downtown D.C. Johnny Gonzalez is following this story for us from the courthouse. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Natasha and Scott. I guess we can say this is new details on an old scandal. This is a scheme involving a former council member who is now doing prison time. We can tell you Millicent West will be in federal court later this morning. She is charged with tax fraud. About a year ago, she was forced to step down as the head of D.C.'s Homeland Security Office. Most recently, she was running the Children Youth Investment Trust Corps, a group which paid out, get this, about $400,000 in phony invoices. On the other side of those invoices, disgraced Ward 5 council member Harry Thomas. Of course, last year, Thomas pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Now, the mayor was asked about this, and he says he quite frankly doesn't have the details, and he doesn't want to comment until he knows a little bit more about what's going on. Today here in court, West is expected to plead guilty. Reporting live in Northwest Washington, John Gonzalez, ABC 7 News.
New developments now in the debate over guns in America. Several prominent black leaders will hold a news conference in D.C. today to talk about gun control. And a Maryland task force studying the mentally ill's access to weapons meets in Annapolis. Now, these meetings come a day after a Maryland Senate committee approved an amendment that bans people involuntarily committed for mental health reasons from owning guns. It's part of a sweeping gun control bill pushed by Governor Martin O'Malley.
7 is on your side this morning with news of another important recall from a different company this morning. A Virginia company is recalling thousands of pounds of pork sausage. The Agriculture Department says Smithfield Packing is recalling 38,000 pounds of Waltney mild pork sausage roll. It was produced on January 11th. The meat was sold in D.C., Maryland, and 10 other states. There have been no reports of any injuries or illnesses.
Give yourself some extra time if you plan on using Metro to get around this weekend. Orange Line trains will not run between Vienna and Ballston from 10 tonight until closing on Sunday. Shuttle buses will be available, though. Red Line trains will single track between Friendship Heights and Van Ness and between Tacoma and Rhode Island Avenue. There will be no work on the blue, yellow, or green lines. We've got more on all of this weekend's track work on our website. Just go to WJLA.com. In the meantime, talking about Metro, they've seen an uptick in thefts.
Yeah, some electronic thefts. Jumi Alabanji is at our live desk with more on this one. Jumi, what do you know?
Well, this story we're getting from our partners at WTOP. They spoke with Metro, and just to give you guys a little bit of an idea, usually about 1 to 2 electronic devices are reported stolen in Metro about once every single day. Well, on Wednesday, they saw about 7 of these electronic thefts, and they say that is a slight uptick. They've seen a lot of these through the past several weeks. Metro doesn't believe they're connected in any way, but they tell WTOP they think it's because so many people got new electronics over the holidays and now they're just bringing them out on the Metro, not really paying attention to their surroundings. So they just want to remind riders that when you do get on the Metro, make sure if you can to keep your iPods, your iPhones, and other things like that away while you're riding the train. They also say they will be deploying some additional officers at Metro stations just to make sure that everything is okay. Back to you guys in the studio.
Jumi, thanks for that information. Time now 6:36, 31 degrees outside. And your parents' house rules don't tend to break any rules, or laws, I should say.
But still ahead on Good Morning Washington, what led a boy to call 911 to report his mom? We'll be right back.
St. Pius X Regional School in Bowie, Maryland
invites you to visit during an open house
any Wednesday in February. Good morning, Washington!
Boeing executives plan to meet with the Federal Aviation Administration today. They'll be discussing ways to prevent battery failures that have grounded the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Fires and other issues with the lithium batteries led officials in the U.S. and other countries to ground all 787 planes last month. Airlines may be able to start flying the 787 as soon as April, but that's if the FAA and the Transportation Department accept Boeing's plans.
All right, 6:40 now, back here in the Weather Center with Jackie. We've got a couple beautiful shots to show you. This one, the Lincoln Memorial, you see the sun just starting to peek out a little bit. Yeah. Still flags waving there, though. There's some wind out there. And then another beautiful shot of the entire city.
You see that pink or reddish glow. It reminds me of the red sky in the morning, sailor's warning, red sky at night, sailor's delight. So we give you the warning today, but it's going to be light. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, especially for the metro area. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hill can give us his opinion as well. Hey, Doug, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Scott and Jackie. And yeah, I think we're going to see minor amounts of precipitation, but you give any kind of precipitation, winter-wise, sleet, rain, snow, on a Friday afternoon rush around this area, and there's potential for some issues. Let's start with temperatures. Cold enough, 20s north and west of town, 30s south and east, 32 in Lexington Park, 33 degrees now reported at Reagan National Airport. Live Super Doppler 7 radar shows some snow, but a lot of it is just overhead. It's Virga. It is going to be reaching the ground in a couple of spots, but I think it'll be midday, early afternoon before we see the wintry mix of snow and sleet and a little rain reaching the ground in most areas. So that's our forecast for today. Cloudy skies, cold temperatures, a little bit of a wintry mix coming our way. Actually, the bigger impact may be tomorrow with a coastal low pressure center giving us rain. Our weekend forecast, kind of a cold, rainy day tomorrow, but then improving weather with sunshine, 50-degree temperatures on Sunday. Let's get the very latest. Traffic-wise, here's Jamie Whitten.
All right, Doug, mostly quiet except the Maryland Beltway. We have been busy. Latest problem is on the outer loop northbound after Ritchie Marlboro, right where Ritchie Marlboro merges onto the Beltway near exit 13. You can see off in the distance, zoom the camera out a little bit to give you a perspective. We have two left lanes getting by this car fire. And here we go live overhead with News Chopper 7. Literally, they're just arriving to the scene of this incident. So they're trying to focus in on the picture, but expect delays as you come around from Pennsylvania Avenue on the outer loop again to exit 13, Ritchie Marlboro with this vehicle fire. Beyond through College Park, the outer loop, University Boulevard, two separate accidents there, gone. So that's why our Maryland Beltway's been so busy. Scott, Natasha, back to you.
Thank you, Jamie. Time now 6:42, about 31 degrees outside. Kerry Washington found big success right here on ABC Scandal.
But you could say her career started right here in Washington. Coming up, her college professors weigh in on her success.
Coming up tonight at 5, it's Oscar time. Arch Campbell and Sine Simpson are in Hollywood to bring us a live report coming up at 5. We'll talk to the CIA spy played by Ben Affleck in the movie Argo. Get his take on Argo's chances as we head into the big Oscar weekend. Join us at 5.
All right, looking at news from around the world right now. Police in Turkey have identified a suspect in the murder of a female tourist from New York. Police say they're looking for this man. His name is Zaya T. in a southern Turkish province. The body of Saray Sierra was found near ancient stone walls in Istanbul last month. The 33-year-old was on a solo trip to Turkey. Police believe she was killed in a different location than where her body was found. And hundreds of people gathered in Latimer Square in New Zealand to mark the second anniversary of a deadly and destructive earthquake. The 6.1 magnitude quake killed nearly 200 people and caused massive destruction in the city of Christchurch. Prime Minister John Key tried to quell concerns of residents frustrated with the recovery efforts there, saying in a few years the city will be, quote, one of the best and most livable cities in the world. Well, take 2 Tylenol and call me in the morning. That's what scientists in Guam are hoping will cure the region's overwhelming problem with the brown tree snake. They're saying it's just what the doctor ordered to halt an infestation that may be swelling nearly 2 million snakes. Because the snakes aren't known to be pill poppers, officials plan to lace dead mice with the drug and drop them from planes into the jungle canopy. Scott?
Around the nation, George Zimmerman's lead attorney is seeking to obtain a deposition for the woman known as Witness 8. Now, the lawyer will present a motion to a Florida judge today asking to question her. Zimmerman is accused of fatally shooting Trayvon Martin, and Witness 8 says she was on the phone with the teen before he was killed. She originally recounted that phone conversation to Martin's parents, lawyer, and others in a recorded phone interview. The Las Vegas Strip has reopened after a dramatic gun battle and crash that left 3 people dead. Police say that shootout began Thursday morning. The occupants of a black Range Rover chased people in a Maserati and began shooting at them. Investigators say the Maserati crashed into a cab that exploded, killing the driver and its passenger. The driver of the Maserati was also killed. Several others were injured in the collisions that followed. We are learning more now about the tip that led authorities to suspect a former Los Angeles police officer in a series of revenge killings. A training officer whose duties with Christopher Dorner led him to his firing tells the Los Angeles Times she suspected Dorner of killing the daughter of retired LAPD captain and her fiancé after police told her they found some of his belongings, including a notebook with her name in it. Dorner died in a February 12th cabin fire after a shooting spree that left 4 people dead.
Well, police in Brockton, Massachusetts say a 10-year-old boy called 911 for a strange and inappropriate reason.
The boy made that emergency call Wednesday night. He told the dispatcher he was calling to report his mother because he didn't want to go to bed. Shortly afterward, the mother received a call back from the dispatcher.
Hello. Hi, this is 911. Somebody just called from there. Yeah, it was my son, my 10-year-old son.
A police officer later went to the boy's home and explained to him when it's appropriate and when it is not to call 911. No one was charged, and the boy's mother says he has learned his lesson.
I would say so. You'll remember that one for the rest of your life when the cops show up.
Careful when he walks around the phone from now on. Well, before Kerry Washington just blew up big time on ABC's hit show Scandal, she learned the acting ropes as a student at George Washington University.
Yes, Jimmy Olabanji went back to GW to see what Kerry's former professors have to say about all of her success.
Kerry had that it factor.
From GW to ABC, Kerry Washington's former college professors say her success is no surprise.
Yes. I just had that feeling. I mean, I didn't know for sure, obviously, but I had that gut feeling that she was going to be very successful.
Washington is a 1998 graduate of GW's Department of Theater and Dance, where she was a standout student, scoring major roles in several campus productions. Leslie Jacobson was her director.
Even when she was a freshman, she was very serious in the rehearsal hall, a wonderful collaborator.
Kerry Washington performed in plays and productions every semester while she was here at GW. Her professors say they knew that the skills they saw on this very stage would someday lead to an even bigger one.
She had a lot of ability and tremendous self-discipline.
Both Jacobson and another professor, Elizabeth Kitsos Kang, have stayed in touch with Kerry and watched her rise to fame.
I cried. I was like, there's Kerry!
Kitsos Kang says Scandal came at the perfect time in Washington's career.
To watch her week to week developing this character, I think really gives us all a chance to see what she's made of, and it's special.
Both women say Oscars, Emmys, and other accolades are for sure in Washington's future.
I think that she could be president. I could see her someday not being a player, not just on stage, but on the big stage.
I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. At George Washington University, Jumi Olabanji, ABC 7 News.
Good for her.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, right? How well is she doing?
Yeah. You can catch Scandal Thursday nights right here on ABC 7 at 10. In case you didn't know, the whole world's watching, right?
Hi, we're here in the White House kitchen looking for a healthy snack to eat.
Gee, I bet you could get just anything you want in this kitchen.
But you know what
First Lady Michelle Obama and Big Bird are teaming up to help get kids to eat healthy. The pair filmed 2 public service announcements that will air on PBS stations around the country, and they are to mark the 3rd anniversary of the First Lady's Let's Move initiative to curb childhood obesity. She'll also visit 3 states and appear on NBC's Late Night with Jimmy Fallon and on Good Morning America.
Nice. Big Bird. Still getting love. Not cut yet, apparently.
No.
Time now, 6:50, and time now for a little weather, right?
Yeah, let's get to Jackie Jarrett. She's live outside the WJLA studios. Got the gloves on again, Jackie.
I do, and I probably should have some snow pants on or something, because the skirt today is kind of on the chilly side. I'm going to tell you that. You can feel the wind blowing. The little bit of the sunrise that we saw about 20 minutes ago is pretty much gone. It's very overcast right now, and you definitely need to bundle up today. Don't forget the umbrella, because you might need it later this afternoon, although everything's going to be on the light side. We go over to Chief Meteorologist Doug Hill for more on today's forecast. It's cold this morning, Doug.
Definitely cold. Jackie, a little bit of a breeze kicking up and a little wintry mix on the way. Let's go from ground level up to rooftop in Roslyn and give you a look at the camera this morning. The sun has been up for 1 minute officially now, and just kind of a gray day with a chill in the air. Temperatures right now ranging from the 20s to the lower 30s. The farther north and west you are from the city, the more likely you're in the mid 20s, and in the city itself 33, the latest report. All right, there is an advisory, in fact, winter weather advisory, but it's west of the metro area, west of the Blue Ridge today, and we expect that's where it will stay. Colder temperatures, better chances of impact from sleet and snow and some freezing rain. The satellite and radar shows what's happening with the system. Just kind of a glancing blow for our area of what's left of the big Midwestern storm. Probably more impactful to us will be the moisture coming up in the southern branch, and that'll be a low pressure area developing tomorrow that brings us kind of a rainy day. So our forecast today is for a wintry mix. Snow and sleet and rain developing this afternoon, changing to all rain. Temperatures well above freezing. The 7-day shows a rainy day tomorrow. A nice trend weather coming through Sunday and Monday, and then more showers by early next week. Let's find how our Friday morning commute's doing with Jamie Whitten. Jamie, what you seeing?
Well, Doug, we're trying to wrap everyone in this one together on the Brunswick trains. They had an earlier problem. A deer was struck. All trains are running again, but expect up to an hour backup. Virginia, no problems to report on 66. 95 has been light out of Dale City, but it's 395 where you start to bog down Beltway to Seminary Road, and that's where we had the stalled car. Put you on the map. Leaving Manassas Park, you need to know this. 28 is jammed. Northbound 28 Centerville Road to the crash before I-66. And now Maryland, we have you as well. It's seeing some improvement as far as lanes getting open of this van fire. This is the outer loop north of Pennsylvania Avenue before you get to Central Avenue. Still expect that to be slow for some time.
And a good Friday morning to all of you. Coming up here, heart-stopping video of a snowboarder hanging on for dear life 45 feet above a ski slope. The 17-year-old miraculously survived after falling those 4+ stories. He's speaking out now about that plunge. It's next right here on Good Morning America.
All right, thank you, Josh. 6:53 now, and time for the Friday Express.
We begin with the live roundup of today's top stories. Breanne Carter is live from Rockville. Bree?
Well, Natasha, 5th grade teacher here at Meadow Hall facing charges is going to be in court today. 30-year-old Timothy Krupica is expected to have a bond hearing at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Now, according to Montgomery County Police, 2 11-year-old female students claim that Krupica inappropriately touched him. That hearing is expected to get underway about 1 o'clock this afternoon. John?
Breanne, more evidence of corruption here in D.C. Millicent West, the former head of D.C.'s Homeland Security Office, will be in federal court today, charged with tax fraud. She's accused of paying out $400,000 in phony invoices. A lot of that money ended up in the hands of former council member Harry Thomas, who is currently in prison. Jumi?
Well, John, the judge in the Oscar Pistorius murder trial is supposed to decide whether or not to grant the Olympian bail in about 30 minutes at 7:30 this morning. Both the defense and the prosecution rested their arguments today. The prosecution saying he's a flight risk, defense lawyers saying he's not. Stay with us right here on ABC 7 because Good Morning America will bring that decision to you when it happens. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks, Jumi. Now here are the things you need to know before you leave this morning.
An emergency preparedness drill is scheduled today at the Prince George's County Courthouse, so the Duval and Marbury wings will be closed during that drill from noon until 3.
And Scott, 4 stations on the Orange Line on Metro will be closed this weekend. Shuttle buses will get riders around the Vienna, Dunloring, West Falls Church, and East Falls Church stations. Expect delays up to 50 minutes.
On the Red Line, trains will single track between Friendship Heights and Van Ness, as well as between Tacoma and Rhode Island Avenue at about 30 minutes to your travel time.
And for more information on any of these stories we just mentioned, go to our website. That website, WJLA.com. Just look for the Friday Express tab. And right now, more time for weather, right?
Yeah, we're going to check back in with Jackie and see what if our conditions are improving at all out there, Jackie.
Not so much, but that's not stopping the Army runners. Check them out. They're out there this morning. They've got their hats on and wearing their pants and dressed appropriately for the weather. I should be wearing a hat. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Wear a hat today. That's the mantra of all mothers, right? Here's your express forecast for today. We do expect cloudy conditions. Our temperatures will stay in the 30s throughout the day. Our wind chill factor will be down there in the 20s this morning. A light wintry mix possible. Maybe by the noon hour. I think most of this will be in the afternoon for DC. So grab the umbrella. You might need it. No accumulation here, but the winter weather advisory in effect for the Blue Ridge and areas on west for the potential of up to an inch of snowfall. So it's not enough to keep you out of school. I think the roads for the most part will be okay as our temperatures stay above freezing. It's just going to be a cold and kind of raw day with more rain on Saturday. Sunday is the winner of the weekend. That's when we can expect some nice weather. Scott and Natasha, back to you.
Thank you, ma'am. And before we go, it's video everyone's talking about. A cheerleader at William Carey University down in Mississippi. It's an incredible front flip half-court shot.
Yeah, take a look at this. Ashley Arno took a running start, flipped, grabbed the ball while upside down, and there it is. She takes the shot and, of course, lands upright as well for style points. Arno said she's been trying this shot during halftime of home basketball games all season long. She'd never made it. This is the first time, and just for that, you're going to become a YouTube sensation. Congratulations.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah,
wonder if she broke any
her.
records or anything with the Guinness Book.
Something.
Make
She
up
deserves
something for her,
Give her a
right?
plaque. Well, that's going to do it for Good Morning Washington this morning. Good Morning America is coming up next.
Yep, we hope you have a good weekend. And for more local news, watch News Channel 8. We'll see you at noon.